Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for everybody that's in the room. I'm very conscious that this is the last session of the day, officially the graveyard shift. Worse still, I'm the one standing in between you and a drink with your colleagues after many months of not being able to do so. So I'm very conscious. I'm going to keep it really punchy. I'm just going to show you a few videos and give you a bit of an example of some of the things that we've been doing in this space. So today I'm going to be talking about creators and creatorship. What is creatorship, you may ask? Well, creatorship, I'll hopefully give you a bit of insight on what that looks like. Creatorship is essentially the power of the influencer, the power of the creator, and the power that they have to engage with their audience. So, a little bit about Brave Bison to start with, just very quickly, because you're probably wondering, why am I up here talking about creators? I am not a creator. I quite fancy myself as a creator, as many of you may know, but I'm definitely not one. I am not cool enough. However, Brave Bison are a social and digital media agency, so we work with creators. You know, a lot of what we do, we create bold, unique content, and obviously that involves creators and creatorship. So let me start with a bit about the evolution of this space. So the evolution of creatorship is not been like the evolution of monkey to man. It's been a lot quicker than that. This is an industry that has only been around for the last decade, and it will continue to explode with the emergence of new social platforms. According to research, Signal Fire, more than 50 million people are now creators. Did you know that? So the creators have actually gained the power of influence. People want to engage with personalities, and audiences no longer want to engage with faceless publishers. Sorry, my clicker's not working very well. So professionalism. So what started out with anyone, everyone, someone trying to create content, maybe on holiday, in their bedroom, in their garden, this has now turned into an extremely professional industry, as we all know, as we've all heard today, many examples. So Brave Bison work with many big global brands, and we also work with micro-influencers, mega-influencers, and every day, all of which we come across extremely great professionalism. We work with creators who have their own fully fledged production companies, production teams, and we are astounded every day by the quality of the editing, of the shooting, of the creativity, and how this is continuously evolving. And it makes our job great. It makes every day different. So I'm going to start with one video, which just is a great example of professionalism. This video was actually shot a couple of years ago, before the pandemic. It's with a brand, Uniqlo, who many of you probably know, hopefully know, maybe know. So it was shot in London. The Brave Bison team selected creators to work with, very much hand in hand with the brand. And the great thing about this is that the brand, Uniqlo, even though they have very strict brand guidelines and they have a very clear direction, they allowed the creators creative freedom to be creative and to also tell the stories in their very own authentic way. So here's just an example of this campaign. Please play the video.
Here with Uniqlo for the Lifewear exhibition. Who knew fashion can be so scientific as well?
The exhibition was really cool. I knew Uniqlo put a lot of thought into their work, but I didn't realize to what extent.
So there's one room that really blew my mind. It's so simple. There's socks instead of chandeliers. This is incredible.
This is literally such a cool exhibition. It's like I'm in the Science Museum.
Reminds me a bit of the Silencio that David Lynch designed in Paris.
You saw how science and art can come together, how it's so the heart of this brand, which is so lovely, even down to how this jumper has been made. I was learning today about the 3D knits, which is what I'm wearing today, and watching the machine create that is just incredible. It seems so innovative.
So just one example. There are so many examples I could show you, but a great example of professionalism. So moving on, data. So as we all know, the evolution of data in this space has also been quite great in a short space of time. If we look back to when the creator space started, there was very little data available, very little tracking available. And now there are so many tools available that we can start to plan much more effectively and optimize and look across platform. There's so many more tracking tools. For example, there's ways in which we can work across platform now to really deliver and drive ROI, for example, e-commerce, and we've heard so many great examples of that today. But what comes with, I guess, a lot of data also can sometimes come with an increased spectrum or eye on the prescriptiveness of the creativity. So it's still so important that we do not lose the nature and the spirit of the creatorship. We must let creators create. Creators know their audience like they know their own family. There's a connection, there's an authenticity, and so this must be respected. So now I want to talk a little bit about, and I want to show an example about creative freedom. So I'll show a quick clip, which is a mashup of a recent campaign that we did in Thailand with a brand called Suntory and the launch of T+ in the Thai market. So Suntory, working with us, decided to do a TikTok-only campaign for the first time. It was the first time we had done a TikTok-only campaign. And the Brave Bison team chose 6 Thai creators, and the brand allowed us to give those creators complete creative freedom to translate their brief and create some really cool content for their TikTok channels. So I'll show you a little snap of that. It's a great example of creative freedom. And actually, another point of this as well is that we actually managed to smash all of the targets on TikTok. We made record-breaking engagement, and we also smashed all of the brand KPIs as well. So please, can you play the video? Thank you. It always makes me smile when I watch that content. That was for the Thai-only audience, and as you can see, it's a lot of fun. It's a mashup of 6 different creators. You may recognize some of those creators. Be The Scar is just one, and in fact, a creator that we now work with over and over again for all of the reasons I've just explained. Professionalism, brands love to work with him on very different campaigns. So a great example of creative freedom. Oh, and next. So just before I finish off with one more video clip, I guess my final thoughts, and I know I'm going to have a chat soon with Jasper and Jim, but I guess the question is, are you open to change? So the key for the success of working with creators and having creatorship is putting your trust in the creators. If so, you need to invest time. The longer lead time the creators have to work with brands, the better the content will be, the more authentic the content will be. You have to treat creators like a business partner, and you have to give creators creative freedom. So I'll finish off with a final sizzle. This is an example of probably the last couple of years' work that Brave Bison have done across the world, many different brands, many different creators, and again, all mashed up together. So please play the final video. Thank you for listening.
Hello? Hello! So that was so cool. She gets both of us to interview her very, very quickly before we can all go to the pub. Come stand in the middle. Come be the rose between the two thorns. Okay, so you all got that. I mean, this is great. And we had so many conversations this afternoon about working with brands and creators working with brands, but so many brands still don't get it, right? And sometimes creators don't get it. They think that a brand's just Coke's gonna give them loads of money to drink Coke. So I'm gonna play the brand, and Jim is gonna play the creator, okay? So my question is, how do I get Jim to work for me?
So you're the brand, you're the creator. And how do you get Jim working effectively for you, right? Well, I guess if we take it from both sides, so first of all, if we look at, and I've talked about most of this in the presentation, what are the keys for success, or where do things go potentially wrong? Well, first of all, I'd say from the brand side, if you're too prescriptive, that can be really challenging. So if you've got an idea and you give it to the creator or give it to an agency like Brave Bison, and there is no room for movement, that is very challenging, and you're not going to get the content that you've seen today or authentic content. So first of all, the brand has to be open. Then it has to be a partnership as well. So both sides have to listen. The creator has to listen to the brand, because the brands will often have very strict brand guidelines. The tone of voice is very important. So the creator has to know how to represent the brand. But then the brand has to let the creator be authentic. So there's obviously a balance somewhere in the middle. So that's really important, and sometimes it is quite hard to find that middle ground that's really effective. But we get there. So it is a partnership. So then I guess leading on from that, it's about time. So then if the brand invests time in the creator and also gives that adequate lead time, then the content is going to be so much better, because the creator can spend longer getting to know the brand, to know the brand guidelines, to understand the type of content that they want, and then weave that into their own content plan, their own authentic voice. So the partnership has to be really viewed as long-term, because sometimes the brands come to us and they want something done, I wouldn't say tomorrow, but next week. And we're just not going to be able to produce great content in a week, So the longer lead time, the longer you can plan, the much better. And then actually, if you look at it, then even further. So, okay, maybe you have one campaign that you want to work on, but then think about, okay, what's beyond this as well? So not just about, you know, a one-time opportunity. How can we then develop this relationship directly? And I know I've
Yeah,
talked a
I'd
lot.
say
You're dying
that's
to say
so
something.
cool, just because that's so important, because don't just do a one-off. Like, don't look at me as just a, you know, you're on my sell sheet and that's it and it's done. It's like, I think creators can work so well with brands if there's a commitment there to do it, if it works over an extended period of time, because you can build that relationship and that trust. But also, if you think my community is important, engage with me. Let's do special things for my community they couldn't do, right? And let's do it over long term. I look at, like, for example, some of the long-term brand partnerships out there, like Dude Perfect and Nerf, right? That's just gone on for years and is so successful. Building it right, as I'm sure you've seen, is something that happens over the long term.
But then the creator also has to understand that the brand ultimately wants engagement as well.
Right.
So,
and if it doesn't work, right? You can kick me to the curb if it doesn't work.
So, you know, so they also, I think both parties have to put themselves in the other one's shoes.
Right.
And I think that's probably what we all don't do particularly well. That's human nature. So yeah, you put yourself in the opposite shoes and it will work a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay, I've nailed it. I've nailed it. Basically, it's long-term, it's understanding each other, it's being faithful to each other. So ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first, Jim and I are gonna get married. The wedding is gonna take place December the 1st to the 4th, 2022 at Resorts World Sentosa.
Woohoo, bringing it all home,
and
Jasper.
there's VidCon Asia happening at the same time.
VidCon Asia, woohoo, and then we're gonna do it on the boat.
And we'll do it on the boat.
On the pirate ship.
Thank you
Can I
so
be the
much.
bridesmaid?
Thank you so much, Greg. That was
Brilliant
great.
presentation. Thank you so much.
I took a lot of notes, so it was awesome. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.